What is going on YouTube? So I just wanted to talk a little bit about delayed gratification and just self-improvement in general and just the grind and kind of how it looks like for me as a 17-year-old who is doing organic dropshipping. So first things first, this isn't all about business either. So obviously this right here is what lunch is looking like today. So it is like obviously pasta, chicken, eggs, and a little bit of cheese. But the reason I mention that is because that is not the most enjoyable meal ever, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pretty nice, but it is not the most enjoyable meal ever. If I wanted to eat what I felt like eating, I would just be eating pizza every day. But there's one reason, or not even one reason, there is a reason why I don't do that, and a reason why like you shouldn't do that if you're trying to improve. And it's pretty obvious, right? Because we know that things like that is unhealthy for us. We know that right there with, you know, all of the good things in the, you know, the pasta for the carbs, the chicken for the protein, and the eggs and the cheese. We know all of that is good for us, but we still decide, or, you know, some of us still decide to choose a different option because it's easier and it's more enjoyable. But what you got to understand is if you want to improve both mentally, physically, and just improve your whole general life, you got to start choosing options that aren't just easy. You can't just keep going for the easy option. You can't just keep, you know, choosing your favorite food every day just because you like it. Because, you know, if your favorite food's healthy, then great, you know, that's good. But in most cases, our favorite food is not healthy, right? And obviously, if you just keep overloading with it, it's not going to end well. It's not going to, you know, help you. And that's basically what I had to do. You know, as a kid, I ended up becoming quite overweight because, you know, it was lockdown and I was just eating a lot. You know, I was eating a lot of just crappy foods, and obviously pizza was a big one of them. So even though it's my favorite food, I still decided to cut it out, and it's very rare that I have one now, maybe once a month, if that. It's very, very inconsistent. It's not like I even crave it anymore either, because I feel like when you do something like this at a young age, where you like decide that you're going to cut out bad things, bad habits, bad foods, bad, you know, bad everything like that, I feel like you train yourself better. I feel like it's a lot easier to sort of change when you're younger because you know less rather than waiting ages and then doing it. So if you're young right now, then make sure to watch the rest of this video because I'm going to explain to you different parts of life and how I've changed it and how you can do it as well. So obviously I want to start with like the food kind of thing, and just generally choosing an option that isn't easy, choosing an option that, you know is going to improve you, you know, because I know right now that this might not be the, you know, the best meal to have right now. It's not going to be better than a pizza, right? You know, a pizza will be a lot nicer, but I know that the gains and, you know, the physique check after eating that, after, you know, because I've been to the gym and then I'm going to have that, I know that it's going to be worth it in the future. And that is what we know is delayed gratification, right? Because delayed gratification is basically the art of doing something now that is not going to give us a reward straight away. So me eating that right now is not going to give me like 30 pounds of muscle mass. It's not going to grow my biceps straight away. But within, you know, maybe, you know, keep doing that consistently, just like, you know, weeks, months, everything, over time, it becomes a lot better. And I've actually noticed it, right? Because I wasn't always eating this. This hasn't been like my routine diet for like ages. I started doing this when I started college, or well, when I was in high school, actually, just because it was a meal to have on the go. And, you know, it's not hot or anything. You don't have to heat it up. So it's just, you know, you can just eat it right there. So, you know, I had that, and over time it's helped. It's, you know, gave me a lot more sort of reward from eating it. But that's just it literally links to everything, right? Let's say right now you choose to, I don't know, start reading. Instead of scrolling on your phone 30 minutes before you go to sleep, for example, you choose to read 30 minutes of a self-improvement book, or 30 minutes of some kind of book that is going to give you more knowledge. So not like some kind of book that's fun to read, not some kind of storybook, but some kind of book that's going to provide you with knowledge. So, for example, I've got a random book here, nothing specific, but it's just like, you know, a mindset kind of book. Haven't actually started reading this one yet, but, you know, I'm going to get onto that. But basically, point is, start doing something that, even though it's not going to be, you know, an instant reward, because scrolling social media is basically like an instant reward in a way, because you get this instant like sort of dopamine effect where you're like, your brain gets excited, your brain just like consume, because that's what it wants to do. But if you start like pushing against that, if you start saying no to your brain and start saying, you know, I'm going to go and do this instead, over time, you reading that book for 30 minutes a day, instead of scrolling social media is going to improve you so much. And, you know, even if you can't see that right now, even if you think, oh, well, you know, it would, but it's going to be difficult, just try it. Because, you know, once you start getting yourself into the good habits, once you start practicing this sort of like good habit, it just becomes normal. You know, it just becomes routine. It's like, for example, the gym, right? If you've just started the gym and you're not, you know, you're passionate about starting, but, you know, you still haven't like been there long enough, you haven't made any gains yet, it's not going to be that easy to just keep going, is it? You know, you got to, there's a reason why a lot of people, I've had this like 2 week rule basically, where a lot of people start the gym, and if they like it still after 2 weeks and they're still staying consistent, they're likely going to stay. And the reason for that is because the more that you do something good, and you know, the more results you see from it, because of the delayed gratification. You know, you go to the gym one day, you're not going to see results. You go to the gym for 2 weeks, maybe you'll see a little bit of results, but you go to the gym for like a month, you're going to start seeing results. And that is what keeps people going, right? So you can just stay long enough to see results from the good habits that you start, it will become routine to you. And that is basically, you know, what I've done with the gym, what I've done with business, what I've done just with a bunch of different like parts of life, right? So the more business side of things is that if you're thinking right now, maybe you've seen like a business online, just online money making in general, maybe you're thinking, oh, this is pretty difficult, I don't know what to start, I don't know what to do. Just choose one of them, right? Because I started with a clothing brand, it didn't work out for me, and the reason I kept going was actually because I built the discipline from the gym beforehand. So I'm not saying you have to go to the gym in order to start a business, or, you know, vice versa, but I'm saying that for me, it helped because, you know, mindset is 90% of, you know, the whole business. 90% mindset, 10% like actually work and action, which is all of it's important as well. You know, even that just 10%, even though it seems like a small number, it still requires a lot of effort. But point is, you know, I got that mindset sorted first. So I was reading books. I used to read like 3 hours a day before I'd actually started a business. Obviously, I probably wouldn't have a chance to do that now because I've actually got, you know, other things to do, things that can make me money now. But in order to sort of like think of that in the first place, or in order to actually get that into my mind and be able to, you know, move on to the next step, that's what I started with. I was just I was learning, right? And, you know, I was doing home workouts at first, and that built my discipline up. And then I actually went over to the gym as well. And then me and my good friend, who was my business partner, not anymore, but we started a clothing brand together. And, you know, we ran it for like a year, and it didn't do well at all. I think there's a few sales, but I've still got some of the clothing left now. So it didn't do great, right? But point is, I was able to build discipline from that because I was working every single day, you know, making new things, making videos, doing all of this stuff with social media, designs, everything like that, everything that comes into a clothing brand, doing all that and getting no results from it. And, you know, pair the gym where I'd started, I was skinny and I was trying to lift. I wasn't seeing too many results, but I was seeing a little bit, which is what kept me going. And then I applied the same over to business, right? And I was doing the clothing brand for ages and it just didn't work out in the end, unfortunately. But in a way, it was fortunate because then that built the discipline where I wasn't expecting a straight reward from doing work, because I'd got used to this whole year of doing loads and loads and loads every single day, turning up, doing this, doing that, and just getting nothing from it. So all of that kind of paired into me then moving over to organic dropshipping, where I was like, okay, I'm coming into this game. I know, you know, I haven't made a lot of money already. I've made basically no money already, and I've put loads of effort in, but I've got an idea now what I'm doing, and I know that if I just keep working and working, there are going to be some results. Maybe the clothing brand wasn't for me at the time because it was the first thing I ever started. I think just going into business and trying to run a clothing brand is quite difficult. You know, if you've done that or if you're planning to do that and you succeed, then, you know, congratulations to you, because it's not the easiest thing, right? No business is easy, but I feel like a clothing brand, going straight into that, because you need upfront capital and everything, I feel like now I'd be a lot better at running a clothing brand than obviously when I'd started, because I've now learned skills. But point is, when I moved over to organic dropshipping then, it was like, okay, I'm coming into this, I'm not expecting straight results. I'm just going to put in the work and, you know, eventually it'll work out. And that's kind of what happened, you know. I was putting in results, making loads of videos. And I remember just literally one day I was sitting in class in school, and I just heard that cha-ching. I had no idea what it was either, because, you know, it was literally a first time I've ever heard that notification. No idea what it was. I pulled my phone out and I saw it was like, I believe, you know, I'll always remember this. I think it was £31 and a woman from Florida. That's what I'm saying. I think it was like 2 or 3 items, £31 and from Florida. I'm never going to forget that, right? But point is, right, I saw that first result and then that's kind of just what it is. So if you're maybe doing drop shipping as well, organic or paid, all you need is that first sale if you haven't had it yet, or all you need is that, you know, that milestone, that amount of sales, whatever it is, all you need is that just to spark your mind and to know that it's actually possible to do. And I think one other thing I'd probably mention, self-improvement wise, is like, another reason I'd eat this as well for lunch. I need to stop babbling and actually eat that. But basically, another reason I eat it for lunch as well is because it's going to make me feel good. My brain's going to be able to function properly. If I have something different, like something, you know, unhealthy, something maybe breaded or anything like that, it's not going to be as... it's going to be nicer, but it's not going to have as good of an effect on me as, you know, that would, because it's not really going to affect my brain negatively when I'm trying to, you know, think and act. So that's kind of all I want to say for this video. I probably babbled on a lot there, but I kind of just let my mind run free in these videos and just pick up value wherever it is, because, you know, I believe I've spoke some value there, gave a bit of a backstory kind of thing. But there's much more to come. So, you know, if you want to follow the journey and see some more, then please consider subscribing. But I thank you for all of the new subscribers that are coming in as well. I believe we've got about 142 at the moment, so I'm really, really grateful for that. You know, I'm glad that 142 of you actually like my content, so that's great. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm gonna, you know, there's not a specific upload pattern at the moment. I'm kind of just letting my mind run free, but all of them are gonna be, you know, good banger videos. And obviously when I'm getting like some more results as well, I'll do some more videos about that. But at the moment I'm grinding, like the video said, so, you know, I'm just gonna let that happen. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.